So a couple of years ago, I took it upon myself to look at the various apps available to us rowers, pretty much specifically for the Concept 2, but looking at apps that are out there. Now, time has moved on, and interestingly, over those kind of couple of years between making that and now, quite a few of these have just disappeared into the ether. And really, you can look at this as a subset of two kind of different kinds of apps. You get the trackers that are out there, and then you get the ones that try and make rowing a little bit more interesting. And what really has remained is that the constant that's been here over the past couple of years is when it comes to the trackers, you've got Concept 2's own app that's called ErgData that they give away for free. And then there's ErgZone, which is a completely independent app. You can either get a free version or you can pay for it, and it will help you log as you row. But then when it comes to trying to kind of entertain yourself while you're rowing, there's really only two decent options that are out there. Well, three if you include RowPro for PC. But if you're looking at a phone app or an iPad app, you've got Kinomap, which is, you can do virtual rowing or rowing classes. I make some for them. Or you get ErgZone. Now, ErgZone is a really interesting app because it's there and it's pretty much poised as the Zwift for rowing. Now, if you don't know Zwift, Zwift is an app made for cyclists and runners that lets you, well, bike or run through a virtual world. There's tens of thousands of people on the course at any one time, and it's kind of pretty much the most successful app for that kind of indoor training. And ErgZone is kind of like that for rowing. You get this virtual world of which you are rowing on, and you are able to join other people on the water, and you can build your avatar up and all this kind of stuff. Now, why I'm making this video is that ErgZone has been around since around about 2020, 2021, and it's persevered. It's kind of, there's been other ones coming and going like Row, which is kind of similar-ish. Didn't have the gamified side of it, but kind of looked great to row on, but that just unfortunately disappeared, whereas ErgZone has managed to kind of last the race and be there for us if we want to do some virtual rowing and join other people. So why has ErgZone hung around for so long? Now, of course, before I get started here, you might not have any idea that this machine will actually connect to an app. So if your monitor is a PM5, then it will connect via Bluetooth to ErgZone or ErgData or ErgZone or any of the other apps that are out there. WaterRowers, if you've got the right little module, that will then give you a Bluetooth connection to some other apps. It must be said, Concept 2 tends to have a lot more apps available than WaterRower, but this is really where ErgZone comes in and shines once again, because any rowing machine that has a Bluetooth signal, it's either the FTMS or whatever the Bluetooth is in a PM5, don't ask me, they will connect to ErgZone. So you can actually have all these different machines that are able to row on the river together. Now, if I roll back to around about 2013 when I got started kind of in a little bit more performance rowing, all I had available to me back then was RowPro. So that was a USB connection that went straight into the side of my PC, and then it was just about racing, basically. So you'd sign on to like a 8 o'clock row, and you'd have 16 or up to 16 people all lined up rowing from left to right, and that would be it. It'd be a race. There'd be a little chat window, you could talk to people, but that's basically all you were doing. But then as the app thing kind of started to grow, as the PM5 came out, then more and more people were developing a little bit more graphically kind of fancy ways to do this. And that's where ErgZone grabbed the horns and ran with this. So when they first came out, it was mind-blowing. So you had your little avatar, he was rowing along the water and you had all the scenery going by. It was a great way to start. Suddenly you were there in the boat. As you rowed, it rowed, and you were able to explore the various worlds that they had designed. And then over time, they started to add more and more layers to this. And then you were able to do things like customize your avatar. You could earn coins in order to buy new kit to upgrade your boat and your oars. It just made you stand out on the water. But it still is about rowing. So if you look at the ErgZone screen, you'll see you've got all the data that you need up there. You've got your pace, stroke rate, heart rate available. This is clever because if all you have is the monitor, the PM5 in front of you, or even the ErgData app or ErgZone, all you've got is numbers, okay? You're just staring at numbers and you're just looking like, am I going 154 pace, 153? And it can become almost this kind of war of attrition with your monitor where you're just kind of looking at this kind of hyper-focus thing. And then ErgZone came along and just opened up what you were looking at. You can still see the results of whether you're rowing faster or slower because you're overtaking people, or you can actually just see it on screen. You can see as you're going through banners, it's giving you timers for have you done that sprint faster or not. But you've now got basically something to chase, something to kind of have your brain engage with that isn't just a bunch of numbers. Now, of course, that's not to say that a bunch of numbers isn't useful. Like when I'm training properly for 2K and things, I don't really want to be distracted by something like ErgZone. I do want to focus on the numbers. But if the point is just to sit down and crack out a half-hour low-intensity row, then I know that once I've got the groove, the grind of my stroke in there, then really what I need is just something to distract me, something to keep my brain occupied while I'm just going up and down the rail for 30 minutes. And that is where ErgZone works for me, because I'm not really the kind of guy that will sit down and watch something on Netflix or whatever, because I find that then pulls me away from the point of what I'm trying to do. And hey, if you're watching Mission Impossible or something on the rowing machine, you get to one of the exciting bits, suddenly you're going fast, you get to the love scene and you slow down. So that doesn't happen if you are just staring at the numbers on the monitor. But again, with ErgZone, because you're within that rowing ecosystem and you can see everything happening, you can hear it, you also don't tend to be distracted and slow down and go faster. It's all kind of there to kind of give you that focus while you're rowing. So a lot of this depends on the kind of person that you are and what you're looking for in your rowing, either as a kind of your entire rowing experience or just from day to day, whether you think, you know what, I just want to go out and just experience the world, or I want to sit down and smash out a Tabata workout and really focus on the numbers to make sure that that's what I'm doing. Now, the other thing that ErgZone offers you is that it expands your world. Maybe you're the kind of person who sits on the machine, sticks on your headphones, and just cracks out a 20-minute workout and then wanders off again. It's all a very lonely experience. But then you connect your machine to ErgZone. You go for a row around the water and you're passing other rowers who are rowing at the same time as you. Or even better, you join in one of the group rows. Now these happen, you go to the ErgZone website, you'll see a list of them. I run one every Sunday, and suddenly you've got like 100 people that are all on the river with you, and you know that they're rowing at the same time. You get to see the familiar names, you're passing the same people week by week, or getting passed by the same people. And that sense of community, it's something that's like, it's like the umami sometimes, where you don't really think about how important it is, but that coming every single Sunday for my rows, that I know that I'm sitting there at 9 o'clock in the morning one week, 5 o'clock in the evening the next week, and I know that all of these people are rowing along with me. It is incredibly inspiring knowing that this one app has kind of unified the rowing community, or at least that subset of the rowing community, for that half hour of the day. And it's something really not to underestimate just how important that can be in terms of your own motivation as well.
And while I'm on this subject of motivation, I kind of need to point out that the reason I keep on using this isn't just for the community rowing side of things, it's also for the challenges and achievements. Having a daily challenge, weekly and monthly that I can aim for, and then a whole bunch of achievements, so many that I'd end up taking the entire video just scrolling through the options that are there. All of these achievements are things that I can tick off, and I think it's that psychology that is one of the keys to bringing me back to this app time and time again, and why it's probably lasted longer than the other apps that are out there. ErgZone isn't just about random rows either. There's also the plans that they have within the app, giving you a way to improve your rowing in a structured, focused way. Look out for my RowAlong plans arriving soon on the app.
And then there's the level playing field. I've already mentioned that any machine that has Bluetooth connection is able to connect to ErgZone. So whether I'm using my Concept 2 or my WaterRower or my RP3, because they all have Bluetooth connections, they're able to connect to ErgZone. So anybody that has a rowing machine that connects via Bluetooth is able to use ErgZone. And then you get things like the Smart Row handle. This is the blue thing I've got hanging off my Concept 2 here. And this is a force meter that any rowing machine that uses a chain, it will work with. And what that then does is it unifies any rowing machine with a chain. So if you look right now, there's a whole bunch of copycat Concept 2 machines out there. Different monitor, and they may or may not connect to ErgZone with Bluetooth. But you could then connect this Smart Row handle to it, and that will then unify all of the machines, because this force data is going to be the same for all of the machines. So this is going to be an interesting thing to look at in the future, to see whether there's a kind of bringing together of all these machines because of SmartRow. Bearing in mind, of course, that the WaterRowers also use SmartRow if you do the upgrade. There's a pulley that comes on the front of the WaterRower that's made by SmartRow, and that helps with that kind of data hodgepodge as well, to try and kind of bring everybody so that we can all be racing on the water on EXA and be comfortable that the data that we're seeing is the correct data in terms of racing each other, which, to be fair, is the biggest argument people have against different machines being together on the water at the same time. Now, I know this is coming off a little bit like an advert for EXA because, well, actually it kind of is. I mean, I've been using this for years. I really enjoy it, and I'm doing all my live rows for it, so I am kind of invested in it. But it must be said, there are still improvements that could be made here. I kind of really would love to see more of a gamification aspect into here. I mean, you get things like the shark game and whatever where you're able to have a little bit of fun, but I think there is a huge avenue here where you're able to do just that little bit more in terms of what's going on with your rower. Sometimes you want to do just a little bit more than rowing in circles or exploring the world, and I think this kind of game options could really just, you've got 15 minutes to row one day, and you sit down and you just think, I don't want to go around in circles, I want to just do something a little bit more interesting. Which, to be fair, is probably why the Concept 2's PM5 has the fish game on it. So there's the gamification side of it that I think they could roll in these kind of more games to make it a bit more fun at times. But then they've started to roll in the race feature too, where you're able to actually do proper races on the water.
Currently, you can race 500, 1,000 or 2,000 meter distances on your own against bots, or you can set up the race, then share a lobby code with your friends and race against them right there and then. I'd love it if they gave more distance, time and course options, as well as the ability to schedule a time and date rather than it being an immediate race. And then if EXA opened up access to these races by creating a users lobby alongside the official events lobby, people could take a look at what races others had set up and could hop on the water and take part. Kind of like how RowPro have their orbits screen with all of the races created by users which anyone can join. And of course, the same could be said for those general group rows too.
You can still all log on at the same time and you'll kind of end up in the same place, the same thing, but it'd be nicer to be able to have a group row that you're able to set up yourself. However, I understand the limitations in terms of servers and all that kind of stuff, that this isn't quite as easy as I'm saying, but hey, I'm sitting here making videos, so it's easy for me to just come up with stuff. It's up to the code monkeys to actually be able to do it, or to go, that's much too hard work. Which is actually the same as the next thing, where it'd be lovely to have more maps, more routes to go on. Of course, that does then dilute the people who are on the water at any one time, but maybe they'd have like the River Clyde, where I am in Scotland, or that kind of stuff. You get what I'm saying, is that having different places that you could go for a row would be quite nice. In the same way that we have all these options right now to customize our avatar, then adding more and more of those customization options is obviously going to be something that's a lot of fun, just to sit there and kind of spend these coins that you're earning while you're rowing. So, after a few years and hundreds of kilometers rowing on EXA, would I say it was the perfect app? Well, no, but it's striving towards perfection. And I think that's the thing here, is that this is an app made by people who they're trying to understand what it is that rowers want. They're not just going to say, right, rowers just want data and they just give you data, or rowers just want to play games and you just get games. They're trying to kind of give you a little bit of everything so that anybody who wants an app has a little bit of something that will keep them going. So whether you're a completely new rower and you're just kind of like, oh, I just want to row and I don't quite understand the numbers, then you've got the prettiness of the scene that you're kind of going through. Or if you're just someone who wants to train hard, then you've got the data there as well, just within the environment of a kind of a digital world. So I think EXA have been quite clever at molding this app over time to things that people are saying that they want. They respond to it. They added in the racing feature in the group rows because people were asking for it, but they're also not going so fast and so divergent as to alienate the people that are using the app. And so I'll continue to be around on the EXA app for a long time to come. Like I say, I've got these Sunday group rows that I run. One week it's 9 o'clock in the morning doing the rise and row with RowAlong. The week after it's 5 o'clock in the evening doing the sunset row with RowAlong. These are UK times, and it's all live streamed streamed up here on YouTube as well, so that you can listen to my waffle while you're rowing along on the app. And if you don't have the app right now, then just go to extragame.com to download a free trial. You'll get a 14-day trial, and if you do eventually subscribe to it, if you use the code RA25, then you will get a discount. Of course, when it's no longer 2025, that might not be the same code, in which case check in the description below and I'll have the updated code that you can use in order to get a discount. So I look forward to seeing you in one of the group rows if that's what you happen to take part in. Do let me know what apps you're using, what you're looking for in an app, what keeps you motivated when you're rowing, because well, the extra people will read that and hopefully roll it into the app themselves. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please look after yourselves. Row well, be well. Bye-bye.